So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with both another rebuild here in the Lebron era and another challenge. It's going to be a fantasy draft rebuild. So to be quite honest with you, I've been thinking about what I wanted to do for today's video for a couple days now. And honestly, I didn't really have anything else. And I haven't picked out another series yet. So I thought today we kind of killed two birds with one stone. Get another LeBron rebuild. It seems like you guys have really been enjoying the videos from this era. And I actually did see a comment that was requesting this. So again, just trying to make the people happy. And I think as we all pretty much always do, I love fantasy drafts. Now let me know any other video ideas down below in the comment section. By the time next week comes around, I am really hoping to have, a second series that can run concurrently to the LeBron series. So any last minute series ideas, let me hear it all down below in the comment section. And yeah, we'll pick one moving forward. Very much looking forward to that. Along with that, any other video ideas you guys may have, challenges, one-off rebuild series, anything and everything, let me hear it down below. But excited for this one today. It's going to work the way pretty much all these fantasy drafts do, except we're here in the LeBron era. Let's get into it. Before we get into the draft, of course, we have to go ahead and pick out a team. As we always do, I will close my eyes and randomly scroll through this. I do not want anybody to think that I am cheating. And yes, before you ask, I did remember to turn off previously traded draft picks. I know I tend to forget quite a bit. So we're going to close the eyes. We're going to scroll through all 30 teams. Again, it doesn't really matter to me. The picks are randomized. I have no say in it whatsoever. And we'll stop right about now. We end up with the New Orleans Hornets. Completely fine by me. I don't see us relatively high, so just curious, seeing, LeBron James. MVP Derrick Rose, number 2. You got Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard. How far are we? Oh, boy. Looks like we are picking approximately 22nd overall, which is, certainly not my favorite thing in the world. Again, a lot of really notable names, a lot of legends that have already been taken. I got to be strategic with this because throughout this era specifically, something I've noticed throughout the 2 rebuilds we've done is that a lot of the really good players tend to be a bit older. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but we also could be dealing with some significant regression at some point. So I am also curious, who are some of the younger players here? Like, you got Boogie Cousins sitting here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him in round 2. I hope I would. I'm probably not going to take him right now. You also got Paul George sitting here. So that, of course, being the rookies from the 2010 draft class. Brandon Jennings, Eric Gordon, Tyreek Evans, Nicholas Batum, DeMar. Ooh, that might be hard to pass up. Do I think Harden's going to go? Because I've seen his progression. Do I think he's going to go between now and my next pick? Again, this is a snake draft. This is like your fantasy football draft. If you pick last in round 1, you pick first in round 2. We're 21, 22, whatever it is. It's a bit risky. It's definitely a bit risky. But you know what? I think I need a franchise guy, and Joe Johnson's only 29. I think that contract should be fine. Or I could go with a guy like Darren Williams. Ooh. I'm going to take ISO Joe. I like ISO Joe quite a bit. Okay, fuck. Boogie already went, which makes me think Harden's going to go really, really soon. We're going to get screwed here, aren't we? I don't think Harden got taken. Let me just confirm if he's sitting here, he's immediately going to be my pick. James Harden's sitting here. Thank you very much. All right, that is 2 of our picks down. Of course, we're going to make one more selection. We have a shooting, or technically we have 2 shooting guards, but I'm going to go ahead and likely play ISO Joe at the 3. Harden will be our 2. So we need a 1, a 4, and a 5. And then again, the CPU is going to do the rest of the draft as they always do. So I'm not really loving much that I'm seeing here. Raymond Felton, I guess, kind of jumps out at me a little bit, considering he's only 27. We could also continue to go with a little bit of a youth movement. I'm not really sure if there's any, stars still sitting here. I mean, why is Hassan Whiteside making $22 million? Fix your fucking game, 2K. All right, the 22-year-olds will be the last ones I check, just seeing who is the highest overall. Currently, JJ Hicks. Yeah, no disrespect to all these guys right here, but that's just not going to cut it for me. So we will pick somebody that is likely a little bit older, but may be higher overall. Again, nobody really jumping out at me immediately. I think Raymond Felton probably going to be my guy. I mean, $7 million annually for a 27-year-old and an 82 overall point guard is not necessarily terrible. So Raymond Felton will be my last pick. We will sim this whole draft. I'll see you guys with the team. Here's to hoping that the CPU did a pretty good job for us. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do an absolutely terrible job. Now, I will kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. The depth here in the LeBron era is not nearly as good and as deep as it is in the actual NBA right now. So just something to point out. There's going to be some, not real players on this roster. Now, let's get into it. Let's go position by position here at the point guard spot. Of course, we drafted Raymond Felton with our 3rd round pick. 27 years old. I gave you some of my thoughts. He's not a star or a superstar or anything like that, but he's a solid point guard option that I think will be pretty good for this squad. Behind him, we have Earl Watson, who's 31 on a one-year contract. Probably not a real long-term backup point guard option, but he'll do for now. This, again, not a real person. We head to the shooting guard spot. Of course, we have two options here right now. We have Joe Johnson. We have James Harden immediately going to be moving ISO Joe to the 3. Have Harden play the 2. Again, he develops like crazy. And then whoever the hell Cliff Griffin is. Now, the small forward spot is terrible. As you can see, there's not a real small forward on this team. Of course, we're going to slide Johnson there, as I've said 12 times. But again, we'd like to find a backup at some point. They drafted me Chris Kardashian, who's only 25 years old. I give him a little bit credit there. We also got Kenyon Martin here as well. So, two pretty okay options. Again, it's not like Kardashian's going to really develop to the point where he's going to be a super impactful player. But I do like the contract. I do like the age. And the overall isn't bad. And then a little bit of a different tale here with Martin. He's 32 on an expiring deal. Best basketball may or may not be behind him, but again, I'm not going to give him up for nothing considering he is one of the better players on this team. And then the center spot I'm a little nervous about. Okay, well, they drafted me Channing Frye. Also got a 23-year-old Jan Mahimi here, which isn't bad. I think he may end up developing and, of course, is really, really cheap right now. But no disrespect to Channing Frye. I definitely need a little bit of a better center, at some point. So we are going to make a few trades before we kick off year one. Certainly got to solidify the backups at a few different spots, and I'll see you guys with our first move. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'm doing this trade for one reason and one reason only. It's because we get an extra year of team control. Now, you can also make the argument that we get a little bit younger here in this deal. Anthony Tolliver's only 25 at this point in time, whereas Earl Watson is not only expiring, but is 31 years old as well. So, this isn't a major blockbuster deal or anything like that, but I think it's going to be a good long-term move, considering I don't think we're going to really be in the mix as a contender here in year one. My goal right now is to just build this thing out long-term and hopefully have a really talented team, heading into year 2, year 3, whatever it may be. But this is going to be our first move right here. Again, we definitely have to work on some more backups with this team. Now, as I'm sure many of you are aware, I am not a fan of giving up draft picks at a time like this. Pretty much year one of a fantasy draft when we are either a bad team or doing a normal rebuild and building up a lottery team. I don't like giving up draft assets, but ultimately, this was a deal that was just too good to pass up on. Kenyon Martin was pretty much always going to be moved in my mind, considering his age, the fact that he was a backup, and an expiring contract. Just was really never long for this group here in New Orleans. Now, this trade here with Washington is going to get us 2 nice backups. And not only nice backups, they are young backups that are on multi-year contracts. So I don't love giving up the first-round pick in 2015, but it is years away. I don't think it's going to hurt us too much. Collison's going to be controllable throughout this entire rebuild. Brandon Rush has the second season after this. So, I think it is worth it at this point. Again, I will, give it my best shot to maybe get this done, potentially just giving up seconds, but I just don't really see a way. Oh my God. Thank you very much, 2K. I really appreciate your stupidity sometimes. One last trade here that's going to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We are sending out 3 players who I have no idea who they are. It's going to be Matt Hill, Wayne Terry, Rodney James, and a 2014 second-round pick. And in return, we're going to pick up our new backup small forward, who is not only an upgrade with Dante Jones, he is on a multi-year deal, which, say it with me, multi-year contracts are very beneficial throughout rebuild. So that's going to do it. That's going to be our final trade here before we kick off year one. Really, my main goal was not only building for the long term, but also having 10 real players in this rotation. So, maybe we're not going to be a superstar team here in year one, but I think, again, have a really good foundation that we could maybe be something special at some point. So we're going to go ahead and set the rotation, and I'll see you guys with it. It is the first season for us here in New Orleans. We have finalized this 10-man rotation, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this team ends up being. Now, I'm not saying, again, we're going to be in the playoffs, because if I was to give you an honest answer right now, I don't think we are going to be, but, anything's possible. I've learned that throughout a couple rebuilds here in the LeBron era. Raymond Felton, James Harden, Joe Johnson, Chris Kardashian, and Channing Frye as our 1 through 5. Again, I discussed a little bit earlier about how I am eventually going to look for a center upgrade, but given where we are and the other moves we made, I just didn't really feel like it was going to be something that was a necessity heading into year one. Bench unit will be led by Darren Collison. This was a significant upgrade at our 6th-man spot. Behind him is going to be the newly acquired Dante Jones. Got Brandon Rush here as my backup to James Harden, Anthony Tolliver, the new backup power forward, and Jan Mahimi, who I actually think is the one and only drafted player that remains on this bench. Funny enough, so, at least he's young, and maybe that overall will jump at some point. Head coach of this team is going to be Monty Williams. I don't know if I've ever seen ratings that low. Not only is he half a star on offense, he is 0 stars on defense. Has anybody else ever seen anything like that? Or is it the other way around? Is he half a star on defense and 0 stars on offense? I'm seeing the, backslash right there. Holy shit, that's going to be something that needs to be addressed at some point. Let's just get through this first season. I have no idea how it's going to be, but I cannot imagine it's going to be very good. Year one was not great, and I think that's okay. It's pretty much what we were expecting. We won only 33 games, and hopefully this offseason is a nice point where we can take more of a broad picture of this team and really decide the direction we're looking to go in moving forward. Now, LeBron James, he went #1 overall. Spurs had the #1 overall pick. They drafted him. He ended up winning an MVP. Yeah, that tends to work out well. Boogie Cousins does win Rookie of the Year. You know, we didn't have the opportunity. Well, technically, we had the opportunity to draft him, but not in round 2 when I got Harden. You got Manu Ginobili, still somehow sixth man. He is in Los Angeles. You got Dwight Howard winning Depoy. You got Goran Dragic, most improved. And Doc Rivers, head coach of the Boston Celtics at 55 wins, is your coach of the year. So, you know, pretty safe assumption we're not going to be in the playoffs here. Here's a look at the full standings. We end up as the 12 seed here in the West. I mean, you can see some of the teams a little bit lower than us. And then here is a look at the East. Crazy enough, we're probably going to be picking like 8, 9, or 10. It's actually not as high as I was almost hoping. I almost wish we lost more games, but not the way it works. Here are the numbers. Joe Johnson led this team in scoring. Raymond Fulton, James Harden. You got Channing Frye, Darren Collison, Chris Kardashian, Dante Jones, Brandon Rush, Anthony Tolliver, Jan Mahimi. Led in the rebounding department. Oh, 14.5 boards for a Kardashian. Not bad. And assist is going to be Felton. So I'm hoping this is the only time in this video we are not in the playoffs. I tend to occasionally have a bad habit of pushing, you know, the all-in. I push my chips in, if you will, in the second offseason. Not really my plan right now. Kobe Bean Bryant is your finals MVP. Pretty cool he's in Philadelphia. All right, here is a look at some player retirements. Doesn't really look like there's any Hall of Famers here. Alan Bibby, whoever the hell you are, jersey retirements. Oh, Ben Wallace. Okay, yeah, no, there is a Hall of Famer. Historic changes, that's fine. And then the draft lottery, which is going to... Okay, what are we projected? Okay, we're projected 7. A little bit higher than I thought. And maybe we get a little lucky today. I don't know. We do not. We stick right at 7. At least we don't go down. That's something that's happened to me quite a bit. I'm not sure what to do with this. Monty Williams is certainly not one of my favorite coaches in the league even now. Actually, he's not even coaching at the moment, is he? He's probably just cashing in a fucking paycheck from Phoenix. I don't really know what to do with this. I really don't. I don't think that potential is high enough to that this should be. It's just not. I'm sorry. Now, we don't exactly have a huge budget. I will offer, you know, pretty much all the top guys here contracts in hope of just maybe one of them signing with us. I also saw Popovich there, and Scott Brooks willing to come here. Again, the ratings are certainly significantly better, so I will take him over Monty. Let's approach the 2011 draft. This is Kawhi Leonard. This is Kyrie Irving. You got Klay Thompson. You got Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler. It's a very, very good draft class. So one of those guys may or may not fall to me. I wouldn't mind considering moving up a couple different spots. Like, who was the 4th overall pick? It's going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm just curious what a potential trade would look like. If I were to offer Memphis our pick for theirs, what would they maybe want in return? Is there any offer? No, there's not. I would be willing to throw in Anthony Tolliver, if that would maybe interest you at all. Now, I only have 2 future seconds, which, nope, not that, which isn't necessarily great. All right, so they're not going to do that. How about if I go to number 5, which unfortunately I did not see who had that. The Wizards have 6, but I'm going to try 5 before I go ahead and try 6. 5 is going to be owned anytime now. Thank you very much. It's the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, the Hawks take it. So we jump up 2 spots, maybe just securing one of those guys there, you know, that could end up being a really impactful player. So here's a look at the summary. Oh my God, Kyrie Irving didn't get drafted. Neither did Jimmy Butler. Holy shit. It has to be Kyrie, right? Of course, the #1 overall pick in the actual draft, you know, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler. These are all great players that are obviously, you know, legends of the game, but Kyrie Irving he's just different. He's a level above in my opinion. So I'm taking Kyrie. I'm not sure what that means for our point guard spot. We obviously already have 2 pretty talented point guards with this team, but we're going to have to make a decision. You know, I think Kyrie is just too good to pass up on in this situation. So I don't know. We don't have any money, do we? No, we do not at the moment anyways. That could be changed. Unfortunately, this isn't necessarily a great draft class, free agency class. And, you know, 2 of the 3 top guys are restricted. 30-year-old Zach Randolph, I mean, would be a nice upgrade at our power forward spot. But honestly, the Kardashian was pretty good for a season. So I'm thinking we maybe work the trade market more. Again, we have a pretty tough decision to make here, what we want to do with the 2 point guards ahead of Kyrie right now. But we obviously will sort that out. We're making a trade here with the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is not my favorite trade we've made so far. Ultimately, we are going down in the overall department by doing this deal, but we're also upgrading at our center spot, which is, of course, a very big position of need for us right now. No disrespect to the great Channing Frye, but he just wasn't going to cut it for 3 years as our starting center. So we're moving on from Raymond Felton and Jan Mahimi. We're sending them to Phoenix. In return, we're getting ourselves a 21-year-old Greg Monroe, who I'm hoping will develop significantly throughout the next 2 seasons. Along with him, we're getting Hakeem Warwick, who is actually kind of needed right now because we don't have a backup there at the power forward spot behind Kardashian. So that's what we're working with for now. Again, I think Greg Monroe is not like a superstar upgrade, but again, I kind of expect that overall to go up pretty significantly, maybe like an 85, 86 by the time this video ends. At least, that's what I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about. So I might not make any other major moves. I mean, the majority of this core is on multi-year deals. I wouldn't mind keeping Collison. He has another year team control, correct? Yeah, he does. So I don't have to force the issue with him quite yet. I can kind of wait another season. What I might do is maybe think about combining Jones and Rush, who are both likely to be free agents next offseason, into a deal. Upgrade either the backup 2 or the backup 3, and then we just sign whichever one we do not get. So I think that's a pretty good play right there. Again, just trying to find ourselves a multi-year contract that we can take on. And like Josh Childress, again, he's not a perfect like 6th man option or anything like that, but he's better than what we had in the long term, and yeah, he's going to be the guy there. So making this deal here with Orlando, also getting a 1st-round draft pick in return, and we'll look to sign a backup small forward at this point. I actually have a little bit of money to play with right now. It's not actually the worst thing in the world. You got a guy like Wilson Chandler here who's only 24. Now he's going to ask, for some decent money, nothing too crazy out of this world. I'll give him like $8 million annually. I don't think this is going to be one of those videos where we sign a major free agent, and Wilson Chandler potentially going to take over as a 6th man for this team. So, we didn't make any sort of superstar upgrades to this team across the board here in the first offseason, but we've significantly added to our depth. We got a little bit younger at our center spot. Of course, we're going to see some progression there with James Harden, Greg Monroe, Collison, and, I think this team's in a good spot. I think this is a playoff team heading into year number 2. First and foremost, before we talk about this rotation, I just want to point out that, I'm really happy that we drafted James Harden. I knew what his development looked like here in this game, and I'm really, glad that he ended up with us because he's up to an 89, which is officially the highest overall on our team, as Joe Johnson actually went down 2 overalls. So that's a really big win for us. Hopefully he can turn into something close to his MVP form and really help lead this team to the promised land. He, of course, is now joined by Kyrie Irving in the backcourt. Extremely dangerous duo, even though they are both relatively young. I expect them to make quite a bit of noise. Joe Johnson did go down 2 overalls, as we just talked about, but I'm not really worried about it. He's still going to be a super impactful player for this team. Still got Chris Kardashian here as our power forward, and of course Greg Monroe, who actually really didn't move anything in the overall department. He stayed right at an 80, so I guess you got to take a little to give a little. Give a little, take a little. Wrong way. Darren Collison will actually be my 6th man. I know I said maybe Wilson Chandler, but Collison will be the 6th man. Wilson Chandler right behind him. Channing Frye now slides to the backup center role. Of course, brought in Josh Childress in a trade and Hakeem Warwick. So I think this team's better, just in terms of quality depth from where we are a season ago. Of course, a nice upgrade at head coach as well with Scott Brooks. And I don't know if I'm crazy for thinking playoffs. I don't think I am, but let's see what happens at the end of year 2. Year over year, this team sees a 24-game improvement, finishing with 57 wins here in our 2nd season in New Orleans. I am really, really happy with that. Are we going to be the best team in the league? I don't know if we're quite there, but we're going to be in the playoffs. We are in the mix, and that's all you can really ask for at this point. LeBron goes back-to-back in the MVP department. Kyrie Irving does win Rookie of the Year. I knew he was the right guy to pick there. I'm very happy it worked out. Marcus Camby's going to be 6th man of the year over there in Los Angeles. Does that say 6th player of the year? Okay, I'm not getting into that conversation. Dwight Howard is your depoy. You got Boogie Cousins winning most improved. He's actually up to an 88 overall. Hindsight, obviously, looking back at it, but, maybe could have drafted Boogie Cousins in round 1, taken Harden in round 2, and maybe we're in a little bit of a better spot, but I'm rocking with my guy ISO Joe right now. Nate McMillan over there in Portland is your coach of the year. Okay, we are in the playoffs. We're going to be the 2 seed here in the Western Conference. We have LeBron James and the San Antonio Spurs in round 1. Definitely not my favorite matchup in the world, but you got to beat the best to be the best. So let's see here. Oh, my God. Even in this world, this made-up scenario, the Eastern Conference is dreadful. Let's dive into some of the stats. Across the board this season, Kyrie Irving as a rookie led this team in scoring. Joe Johnson, James Harden, Wilson Chandler, Collison, Monroe, Kardashian, Frye, Childress, and then Warwick. Led in rebounds by Kardashian, led in assists by Johnson. Okay. San Antonio. Now, if they had the first pick in round 1 of the fantasy draft we did, it means they had the last pick in round 2. So maybe the squad surrounding LeBron isn't as good as other teams. Ty Lawson, OJ Mayo, Mike Dunleavy. Okay, They got some players here. I'll give them that. JJ and LeBron on the same team. That's funny. They got some players. You know, I do not want to skip over this team. Obviously, I have the best player in the series, but I think we have better depth. I really do. We're up 3-1 at the moment, and we end up going to Game 6, going to Game 7, winning said Game 7. Okay. Now it is the 3-seed Sacramento Kings. Kyle Lowry, Dwayne Wade, Rip Hamilton, Dante Green, Greg Oden. You got Jeff Teague off the bench. Mike Miller, Otto Field. I swear to God, Jeff Teague was at every historical NBA moment ever. All right, let's see. The Western Conference semifinals. We split the first two at home, win Game 3 and Game 4 on the road, and we go back to New Orleans, and oh boy, thank God. Back-to-back 7-game series. We get it done. And we are now officially on the road as we are taking on Chris Paul and the Portland Trailblazers. You got Evan Turner here, Portland Trailblazers legend. Gordon Hayward, Elton Brand, Tyson Chandler, Luke Ridenour. You got Matt Barnes here, Drew Gooden. This is a good team. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. They might be better than us. We are up 2-1, though. Make that 3-1. Make that finals appearance to take on the, 49-win Pistons? Okay, they're actually pretty good. Mike Conley, Aaron Aflalo, you got Ronnie Brewer in here. That is not a name I've heard in a while. Chris Bosh, who is apparently leading this team. If you do not know how good Chris Bosh was at one point, please do yourself a favor. Go back and watch, especially his Toronto highlights. What a fucking stud. Anderson Varejao, Ramon Sessions, you got Trevor Ariza, Kirk Heinrich in here as well. I think we're better than them. I do. I genuinely believe it. We are up 2-1 at the moment. Make that 3-1. We're going to do a Year 2 championship fresh off a Year 1 of 33 wins. Is that possible? I'd like to get it done. Okay, well, this obviously is not going my way. What is this start to the third quarter here? What are we doing? Now we got to go back to Detroit, and that's not a fun place to play. That home crowd gets into it. Oh, boy. All right, it is Game 6. Please don't go to Game 7 for the third time in this video. Back and forth affair here in Detroit. Oh, boy. I'll see you in there. We have a 5-point lead right now. There is just over 2 minutes to go. Kyrie Irving at the charity stripe. I don't know if this is the first or second free throw. First one is up. It is. Oh, my God. Yeah, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I know I always say the same phrase. I'm pretty good at the rebuilding aspect of these videos. I'm terrible at the gameplay part. And for some reason, you sickos still love watching the gameplay. I do not understand why for the life of me. But here we are. Kyrie Irving, second free throw. Thank the heavens. I hate this shot meter so much. I have like a passionate hate for this shot meter. It drives me absolutely fucking crazy. In 2K, honestly, they'll probably change it next year because normally they change something every year about this game. This one is actually a necessary change, though. What on earth is that shot? All right, Kyrie's got 21 on the night here. Let's just kind of do our thing. Let's dance in space here. Mike Conley is not covering Kyrie Irving. Give me a little screen here, Greg. A little mid-range jumper. That's actually deeper than a mid-range. Does not go. Get the fucking ball. Okay, Harden only got 10 on the night. I'm going to call for the ISO here. James Harden, one of, if not the best isolation players in NBA history. And yeah, I think at this point we're just going to work right around. Right hand gets it to go. We go up by 8 points here on the road in Game 6. Potential to close out this series right now and get a championship when I don't think anybody thought we had any shot of doing that here in Year 2. So that was really bad defense by the CPU and Kyrie Irving. So we're just going to pretend that didn't happen and hope we can make something happen here. I'm going to call for the ISO, and then I'm going to call for a quick floppy. I want a shooter to come off the corner. Hopefully it's Harden, or hopefully it's just somebody good. Who's it going to be? Going to be Joe Johnson? Looks like it. That's what the Not what I meant to do. Not what I meant to do, obviously. Ronnie Brewer, that's not going in. Give me a fucking break there, dude. All right, back to James Harden. We're just going to continue to do what I do best. We're going to run the isolation, maybe call for the screen. Going to waste clock, but we're going to waste it with a purpose. You see, you want to waste the clock, not the possession. You learn that at a very young age for most of us. All right, let's get into it here. Nope, that's not... What? What the fuck are you doing, dude? What is happening right now? Okay, I have absolutely no fucking idea why there was just a foul there. I didn't mean to pick up my dribble. Kyrie, corner three, puts it in. Let's fucking... I have no idea why you fouled James Harden. I accidentally picked up my dribble. I was trying to dribble between my legs, and it went into, like, the shot meter. Another fucking broken problem with this game, but... And then they decided to foul. I don't know, was I, like, taunting him or something? Frustration foul? I have no fucking idea. If you're going to foul that situation, which you should not, under any circumstances do, I don't think you do it when the clock gets below 14, when the guy picks up his dribble 5 feet behind the arc. That just doesn't really feel like the smart thing to do. Okay. I got to. I mean, it's still a 6-point game. We're probably fine. Mike Conley, you want to try to run coast to coast with Kyrie Irving? I'll just thank you very much. Okay, well, we're probably good at this point. I think we'll just kind of do one more defensive possession, kind of lock this thing down. Not my finest moment. All right, I can continue to play this game. Okay, now they're going to foul. Jeez, who is that? Aaron Aflalo? You're the idiot that keeps fouling James Harden. I mean, that situation I kind of understand, but I don't know. I still didn't understand the other one. First free throw is perfect for James Harden. Puts us up by 7, and again, with 28.5 left, it's pretty much over if I hit both of these. So, second one up, second one is going to be good as well. Good night. Hell of a game, hell of a series, hell of a season. Championship here in year 2, James Harden. Second year, third year in the league, what would this even be? This would be his third year, correct? Oh shit, no, it's actually his 4th year. Oh no, it's his 3rd year in the league. Okay, I'm looking at playoffs. Finals MVP. Nonetheless, a finals MVP. For James Harden, and we're at the point right now where, you know what, I'm pretty content. You know, I will make 1 or 2 changes because nobody likes watching me run things back year over year, but I couldn't be more happy with the way that season went. Now, we do have our own draft pick. It is at number 30. Staff signing here, we, of course, are going to hang on to Scott Brooks. We approach the 2012 NBA draft, which is Anthony Davis. You know, you got Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard is here, Draymond Green. Not bad. I think the 2013 draft class is the one that's like not so great outside of Giannis. So let's just hop into the draft. I guess I'll pick somebody at 30. That's the only pick I have. Just wanted to double check. And whoever's sitting here, if they're a real player, Tyler Zeller, Celtics legend. Earl Mobley, any relation to Evan potentially? I mean, you are 7 feet tall, so, you know, maybe, man. All right. I think genuinely that Tony Roten and Tyler Zeller are the only real players here. So Tyler Zeller, welcome. I don't really know. I mean, fine. He's going to be 69 overall. Harden, Collison, Monroe, all certainly going to be brought back. No thank you, Jim Edwards. And then free agency here, it's just going to really be one of those videos. I mean, this free agency class is loaded, even though the top unrestricted guy is Dwight Howard. God, I would kill for Howard. But we just don't really have the money. And I'm not going to, you know, try to go out and get it after winning a championship. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I might make a move just to kind of spice things up. I, again, think it's pretty boring if I leave things exactly the same year over year. So we'll come up with something. I'm going to work on a way to get Omri Caspi here from the Orlando Magic. He's an 82 overall, and honestly, the game might suggest I start him at my power forward spot. Now, will I do that? I don't know. Chris Kardashian's actually been pretty good for us, but as we enter the final season, I obviously have some draft capital that I cannot take with me. We could actually give Orlando their pick back, which they might actually enjoy. And yeah, let's just see if we can maybe pull off a deal here. Yeah, we'll obviously never do that in any other circumstance, but the final season, and why the hell not at this point. So that'll be the only change. This team is locked in, looking to go back-to-back. See you guys at the start of year 3. Final season here in New Orleans. This team won a championship last year. It was an absolutely unbelievable season. It was a shocker to many of us, and now we're just looking to defend our title. We really are. Here's how it's going to look. Kyrie Irving, James Harden remain our backcourt. Harden is 22 years old, and he's a 93 overall with a finals MVP right now. Pretty happy I got him in round 2. Joe Johnson remains our small forward. Omri Caspi is actually the suggested starting power forward now. You know, Chris was actually pretty good for us. He rebounded the shit out of the basketball, but I'm going to do what the game suggests. It tends to work out a little better. And then I was pretty wrong on Greg Monroe. I thought he was going to actually develop pretty nicely. Not saying he's a bum or anything like that, but you know, I was hoping that overall would be a bit higher at this point, and unfortunately, that's not the scenario we find ourselves in. Bench unit has once again improved. Derek Collison will remain our 6th man. Funny enough, I'm not going to do it because I set the minutes exactly the way I wanted to already, but if I auto-set this, even though Collison is suggested to play less minutes than Kyrie, the game actually suggests I start Collison over Kyrie. Now, I know I just said I'm starting Caspi at power forward because that's what 2K tells me to do, but I'm not fucking delusional. Kyrie Irving's going to start over Darren Collison. Wilson Chandler remains the backup small forward. Chris now, you know, slides to the backup. It's fine. I mean, yeah, again, he actually played pretty well for us given what I expected him to do in his role. So I feel kind of bad, but ultimately we got a little better. Channing Frye remains the backup center, then Josh Childress the backup shooting guard. So yeah, I mean, not a lot of major changes, some nice development for our backcourt especially, and certainly should be in the mix for a championship once again. I'll see you guys at the end of the final regular season. Now I'm really upset I didn't draft DeMarcus Cousins. He wins the MVP award here at the end of year 3. More importantly, we go 70-12. So I'm not super upset by it, but you know, knowing I could have had him and Harden on the same team, and I passed up on it, makes me a little upset. Because I always stick to my same philosophy in these fantasy draft rebuilds. Drafting the youth movement tends to work out really well. Anthony Davis is in Indiana. He's your Rookie of the Year. Ramon Sessions, your 6th man. Dwight Howard wins DPOY. Klay Thompson, Most Improved. And Scott Brooks, our head coach, 70 wins, going to take home Coach of the Year. All right, here are the standings. We're 19 games up on the Kings. Here's a look once again at the dreadful East. The Washington Wizards just running that conference. Maybe a finals matchup, a little Hornets versus Wizards in the NBA Finals. Don't mind if I do. Here are the numbers. We have three guys scoring 18-plus points a game. Kyrie Irving once again leading the charge. Joe Johnson, James Harden, Caspi looked like a really solidified fit in this starting five. Darren Collison, Wilson Chandler. Greg Monroe's putting up a double-double, so maybe I was a little too hard on him. Kardashian, Fry, and then Childress. Led in rebounds by Monroe, led in assists by Irving. LeBron and the Spurs, I just cannot avoid them. And this team is also developed quite well. So this may end up being a tough first-round matchup, no matter which way you spin it. We split the first 2 at home, win Game 3 on the road, and Game 4. And for the second straight season, MVP LeBron James going home in round 1. Now the Houston Rockets here. MVP Derrick Rose, Thabo Sefolosha, Paul George also here, somebody named Dwayne Griffin, JaVale McGee, somebody named Rex Grady, Chris Kaman also here. All right, this is not an easy second-round matchup. I feel like we haven't had an easy matchup once in this video so far. We're up 3-2. We end up closing them out in 6, and we're moving on to take on the Utah Jazz here in the Western Conference Finals. Steph Curry in a Jazz jersey. What is this haircut? Oh, come on, man. Yeah, Steph's obviously insane. There's no doubt about that in my mind, but I think we are definitely a better team all around at this point. And we are going to be getting the finals that everybody is looking forward to. It is MVP DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson, Goran Dragic, Kenneth Boyd, whoever that is, Carlos Boozer. You got Barea, Gibson, Ernest Collins coming off the bench. All right, I'd like to go back-to-back. Let's make that happen. Up 2-0, up 3-0. We're running them out of their own fucking building. Kyrie Irving, the finals MVP at the ripe age of 21. We had a 22-year-old win it last year. A 21-year-old wins it this year. Youth movement, my friends, in the fantasy drafts. It works. That'll do it for me. Again, this was not heavily requested, so hope you guys are okay with it. I was genuinely just looking for a video here on this Friday, and instead of not doing one, I wanted to post one, and I came up with this, and it ended up being a pretty fun rebuild in my opinion. So yeah, hopefully by some point over this weekend, I'm able to figure out what's the second series I want to run concurrently to these LeBron era rebuilds. I'm not going to post this 5 times a week, so definitely need to go out and find something. So once again, if you guys have any ideas, let me hear them down below in the comment section. But that'll do it for me, man. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.